Hey y'all, I'm Rachel, owner and artist here at Stella Rose Boutique, located inside Stella Rose Mercantile here in Greenville, Tennessee. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button for me, and if you're not, welcome back, friends and family. Today I'm participating in the 8-ounce challenge. This is our sample size jar of DIY clay-based paint. It is 5 times more pigmented than any other paint on the market. So I have 1 week, a total of 8 ounces, and a bunch of pieces I can pick from. So I'm still here on home health, so I'm up here on the main floor for the craft room. If you want to know what's gone on since my surgery, I updated everybody in the previous video. I'll put a link to that in the description box below. And if you want a new update, I go to the doctor's on Monday and I'll put it on my Facebook page. So let's see what I get done by the end of this week, if I run out of time or I run out of pain. Let's go.
Here are some of the pieces I gathered to figure out what I was going to start with. So here's project number 1. I decided to use crinoline and faded burlap. I used 2 ounces of each. I put it into a container that had a measurement. So the top had crinoline, which you see me painting here, and I'm using our new Perfectionist brush from DIY. This brush is amazing to get into all the little tiny spots that you've got to paint with ease. And here I am starting to blend it. I know that you guys have seen people paint everything, so I painted 1 full coat around. And here I'm blending. I'm taking the crinoline and bringing the lighter color down into the darker color. And then I use a 3rd brush to smooth out all the blended strokes and soften them. I'm going over to here, my container, where I keep all my transfers, and I'm going to use a piece from the Whispering Willow transfer. This transfer is from Iron Orchid Designs. I didn't have to lay out a design, it's all one piece. But I wanted to try adhering it to a piece without having to seal it first. And Debbie was saying to us that she does it all the time and doesn't have an issue. But she waits 24 hours after the paint has dried in order to do it. Well, I've never been successful until now. I would decide to wait 24 hours after the paint had dried to apply the transfer, and it worked. And then you see me here sealing it. Please hit that subscribe button for me, and we're on to project number 2. I am doing just a simple little bench, a step stool for your bathroom or for your kitchen. I'm showing you here how I painted both the underside and the top side of it, all for just under 2 ounces of paint. I'm using our color here in Prairie Gray. I'm also using our feather brush, which is really nice for painting large and wide surfaces. It's super, super soft. I'm being impatient, and after I painted it, I dried it quickly with my heat gun. You see the difference in the color? It dries really light, and then when you add your water to which is your moisture, to help blend, and it makes your paint go further, then it darkens it. Same as when it will darken the paint when you add a top coat. Let's talk about this brush cleaning here and cleaning up DIY paint. It's super, super simple. See, just spray it off and it's done. And look at these brushes. How easy is this? Just running water over the top of them and it gets out all of the paint. They're super easy to manage. I love them. This paint is amazing with any brush. Here you see me using my Klingon F30, and I am applying a top coat here to the top of the bench. Being impatient here and wanting it to dry quickly so I can apply the transfer. I'm going to use Brocante from IOD here, and after I flipped through the pages, I thought the chickens were perfect for the front of this. I am using some of the words from the same section of the chickens on the transfer on the back pages. You see me here figuring out which way I'm going to lay out the transfer. When I do, I center the top piece for the words, and then I use the IOD tool provided to rub down the transfer. And then when I'm all done, I burnish it with the white backing sheet of the transfer page. I'm sealing in the transfer here with a layer of top coat. And then I decided I wanted to wax it. So I got my clear wax and my white wax out. And I went to get my brushes out of where I keep them. All of my storage containers are labeled. It makes it much easier to find everything. I'm opening my jar here of clear wax. I love this wax, you guys. It's like butter. It's so creamy. I always put a layer of clear wax down, even if I'm going to use colored wax, because you can use it as an eraser if you'd use too much of the colored wax, and erase it and start over. Once this is done, I buff it off and are all ready to go. Subscribe, please. On to project number 3. This I started painting prior to the challenge, but I wanted to show you here. I used less than an ounce. This is just the scrap leftover. See how I've zoomed in? It's just little dribbles of our color called Apothecary. And it's just very little paint. I have a little bit of water sprayed on there, and I'm able to cover the entire cabinet door. Then I decided to take out a stencil. This one I did get from Temu. I wanted to try to see how theirs work. It's very thin. It did work. It's not one that can be reused a whole lot of times, but it was okay for the price. And I wanted one that said, "This was us." So I stenciled that in, "This is us." And there it is. It's all done. I did use my amazing JRV stencil brushes to stencil this on this board. And then I gave it a quick top coat over just the paint that I had stenciled before I went and got out my transfers. I decided to use my Painterly Florals transfer from IOD. I thought the sunflowers would look really pretty on this board. And once I took them out, I cut them all up in all different ways so that I could lay out and figure out a design on how I wanted them on the board. Once I did that, you see me here taking my X-Acto knife. I don't want to put it so it rolls down that lip on the cabinet door here. So I cut just the edges so I'm able to have a guide on where to take my scissors and cut it. A lot of times I'm able to use the grid that IOD has on their transfers, and it makes a huge difference. So you see me here applying it and then rubbing it down with the tool they give. And then that center section that was cut off, you see me here applying that to the inside edge. Then I take my white backing and I burnish that down and make sure it is adhered very well. I'm again looking at how the layout is and fussing over it and figuring out, again, make sure that's the way I want to do it. And I see here again where I'm cutting just the edges and then the little center section where the two corners meet, so that I know where exactly how to cut with my scissors and lay it down. And then again, I rub it down with the tool that's provided in the packages from the transfers. And then you can see me do the center section here again in the corner and make sure that that is completely adhered when it's done. I think it just gives it a cleaner look. Once it was all done and I had all the transfers the way I wanted it, I gave it a clear coat top with our DIY Big Top. This is the best sealer. I love it, y'all. So altogether, I used less than 7 ounces of paint to complete all of this, and I had more paint left over, so I ran out of time. But I used 2 ounces here of crinoline on top and 2 ounces of faded burlap on the bottom of this file cabinet and blended it together. And on the little stool, I used 2 ounces of our prairie gray. And on the cabinet board, I used less than an ounce of paint to cover the entire cabinet board. And I did the front and the back of that board. So if you've got a project, why don't you give DIY a try? It's just a small sample jar and see how far you can get with your projects. You can find all of these paint and products used in today's video at stellarosemercantile.co, or come by and visit us at 524 Justice Drive in Greenville, Tennessee. We would love to have you. If you liked this video, please go ahead and check the like button and share it out to anybody else that would enjoy it. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.